Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, she is a speaking guru, and she's the author of this book. It's called Become a Bookable Speaker, Her Incredible Journey Just Ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So speaking has become a big business in America, and in Dallas-Fort Worth, it's kind of the home of all speakers. But sometimes you need a support system. My next guest is an expert on this. Christa Haberstock is in the studio. She's the president and founder of C Agency. Thanks for coming on the show.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, I'm thrilled. We're going to talk about your book in a minute,
Okay.
but I want to hear your speaker journey. So
Sure.
How did this start for you?
Well, way back in 1997, I moved to Dallas from Canada. I have a family member, a brother, who was an Olympian in the 1992 Winter Olympics. He had great plans to win the Olympics and become a motivational speaker, but coming 15th, he didn't exactly, wasn't a phone ringer, right? So he, against all odds, became a motivational speaker, and he was the first one I ever met that was a speaker, and he was able to introduced me to this crazy world. His wife actually owned a speakers bureau, and she hired me.
This is Vince Pacente.
This is Vince Pacente.
He's a great friend of mine.
Is he really?
Yeah, that's
okay.
awesome.
So we're basically related.
I just had breakfast with him 2 weeks ago.
You did
Yes,
not.
he's amazing. He's
That's
amazing.
my brother.
Well, he's such an inspiring guy, and he helped me along the way as I was learning my speaking career. Okay, so then you start your own agency. When does that happen?
So I was 10 years at the Speakers Bureau, so 97 to 2007. And then in 2007, I went to work for a speaker manager, a really great one, Karen Harris, CMI Speakers in Calgary, Alberta, which is close to where I'm from. And I realized I am entirely unemployable, highly entrepreneurial. And I started my own thing. I started a speaker management company, but it really started out as consulting. I wanted to consult celebrities, actually. Wow. Yeah. And so, but celebrities know how to sign the back of checks, not front of checks. So,
you are funny.
Well, that's not my line, but it's true. It's totally true. So I worked with a few celebrities and helped them with their speaking brand. And so started my agency very, very heavy on the branding, because that's what I did at the Speakers Bureau for 10 years. I was not a very good salesperson, not at all. Like, I had no sales experience. So I had to reverse engineer their brand into the client's needs. So I would take their brand, and if it didn't match, I would make it match. And that's how I got to work on brands and made them all very bookable, as I say, bookable speakers.
That's awesome. You have a beautiful website. Let's pull up the website, and as we scroll down the website, talk about the kinds of clients you like to work with.
Sure.
I mean, at what stage in their career would you like to meet them?
Gosh, I'm all over the place. I get approached the most from emerging speakers, probably, speakers who have a dream to speak and they don't know how to break in and so forth. That's part of the reason I wrote the book, was just to give them an entry point and kind of a, as they say, a view from 30,000 feet at the industry. A lot of speaker managers, and who doesn't, like to come alongside a very, very busy speaker and, benefit from all the bookings that they have. And I do that because my time is so short. Launching a new speaker is very, very time consuming, and it can take 2-3 years, honestly, to see any kind of, benefit from that.
Sure.
But I like to work with speakers who are just and great speakers. So just great speakers. So, they're very interested in the things that are excellent and true and that are going to do good in the world, and then great doing great things and great in their own field And so that's how Just Great Speakers, my little tagline, was born.
And shout out to Joel Zeff. Yes. He's one of my heroes in the speaking business, and he was on my show maybe 9 months ago. And
he was one of my first speakers on CAGC.
Right?
Yep, he actually was one of my first 3.
So incredibly talented. I look up to him so much. You are also a very successful speaker in your own right. We found your sizzle reel. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christa Haberstock!
What is that thing, that one thing that needs to be eliminated that's getting in the way of bookings? The invisible barrier that goes up that makes leads take off and they're losing bookings they never knew existed. A bookable speaker is a speaker that has inspected their brand and cleared out every barrier to booking so that the bookings flow, so that bureaus love them, so that clients love them, they get the most referrals, they get the happiest clients, the happiest attendees, the biggest fees, the biggest stages. I started in this industry in 1997. I was working for a speakers bureau, and it was just really difficult to book a speaker with a subpar brand. And I ended up taking the speaker's materials and taking the event request and reverse engineering the speaker's materials into the event request to actually make it happen. So I took that knowledge and I really wanted to spread it out to everyone. If your materials at all give any kind of insecurity, you've already lost. The bookings are coming in and going elsewhere, and they're going to the people with the shiniest materials. There's a job interview happening, and they're not invited. But now, those materials have to be top-notch to conduct that interview without being present. We kind of stay in our silos, don't we? But rarely do we ever get in the same room and have really true, honest conversations about what each other needs and what each other wants and how each other is thinking. And that's what we are facilitating, to speak up with the truth and the reality of the barriers that you're facing at any given moment. I'm on a mission to elevate the industry. This is my legacy. This is my thumbprint on the world. And my thumbprint has to mean something. This is important work. And if I've been put on this planet to do something, this is it.
Christa, I'm so impressed with you. Number one fear in America is fear of public speaking. Number 2 fear is fear of death.
Yes.
So did you ever have like stage fright? Did you have to learn to speak?
Oh, no, and so I would kill to be on stage, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
And you were just telling me that your father was a big broadcaster in Canada.
Yeah, he was. In fact, so I grew up around the studio. He was a broadcaster on CBC for a long time. In fact, he was more radio than he was television at the time. Mm-hmm. But he was a network executive for the biggest cable network up there for many years. I think they just sold. But for Shaw Cable. So any Canadians listening, for Shaw Cable, he was a vice president of programming.
Legendary network. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about your best-selling book.
Yes, please.
Become a Bookable Speaker, and we've got a full screen graphic that we're going to put up there. Tell us about the book.
This book is my love letter to the speaking industry. It's the industry that gave me a career. It's the industry that kept my kids fed. Yeah. And it's an industry that a lot of people will attest to this, that once you get into it, you can't get out, whether you want to or not. It's a little Narnia, once you see it, you can't unsee it, because it's got some of the biggest personalities, some of the most interesting, incredible people that have done amazing things, and we have instant access to them at any time. And it's truly been a gift to me, this industry. It has not been easy by any stretch, but the things that I've learned, I want to give it back to the industry. I believe that at a certain point, your job turns into a career, and then your career turns into a legacy, and that legacy to me has become a calling. So this career, I want everything that I do from now on to be something that I wouldn't mind mentioned in my eulogy. And so when I wrote this book, it was to help speakers who desperately want to know how to elevate their message, and that's why I wrote it.
And I'm witnessing right now, Christa's eyes just got kind of soft as she was saying that. Why is this so near and dear to your heart?
Oh, I think that we all wonder what we're put on the planet for. And I never really thought that I would be the guy behind the guy. I never saw it that way, I should say. I never thought I'd be doing this, for one thing. I'm an elementary music teacher from Canada. This is not something that I planned to do. But I know I've been put here for an absolute reason. And as much as I've tried to escape this crazy industry, I just have to say there's been no out for me. And when there's no out, I feel like I'm here for a reason. So I want to elevate the voices that really can. These are voices that actually have, like, I did the math, I ran the math. Don't make me do math or numbers, okay? But like a mega church pastor, just for, just look at it from the grand scope, a mega church pastor has tens of thousands of people. I think the biggest church in America has 42,000 on a Sunday. If you look at that, it's a pretty static number, right? Like it's the same people coming and going, give or take. A professional speaker can reach that in 1 or 2 years. One speaker. Wow. And that's tremendous influence. And yes. If I'm going to propel voices, I want those voices to be a force for tremendous good in the world, because then that's my legacy.
That's beautiful. Tell us about the COVID and what that did to the industry, and is it back? Is it 100% back?
I think so. It radically transformed it, and pivot's now a dirty word. We all had to pivot very quickly, of course. So, it was like one day in March, mid-March was, the day that everything just shut down. And speakers are usually the first things to go, sure enough. So the speakers that didn't pivot found themselves in need of another career, perhaps. And we all learned how to, it really pushed the virtual thing very, very quickly. So we've all gotten really good at virtual. I would say a setup like this in a studio like this is perfect, absolutely perfect for a virtual setting for a speaker. But yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting time. I'd say it's probably all the way back. The hotels, I believe, are the slowest to recover. Mm-hmm. So be patient with your hotel staff and managers and everything. They're the slowest to recover for some reason, and I don't know what it was. But sure. Yeah, so I'd say we're back. All right,
Christa, we've got about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So I want you to look into the camera on the left and talk to the up and coming speaker on why they might need to engage you.
What I'd like them to do, in all honesty, is to engage themselves and to take a very hard and good look at themselves and their brand and say, what's my obvious advantage? Anyone can do this. And I think it's really important, not just for speakers, but for anybody who's a leader or on a team, to find out where they or their team members are the strongest, because sometimes people aren't in the right position. So if you can find out the obvious advantage, what they are the first at, the most, only, best. Those are the anchor words. Of course, you could be maybe the youngest or the oldest or the handsomest or something. But first, most, only, best. What are you the first, most, only, best at? And that's your obvious advantage. And it can be things that you are ignoring. And generally, it is. So stop chasing the things you don't have and start chasing the things you do.
Oh, great way to end this show. We're also going to leave you with her website, which is her name. We'll put it on the screen. And Christa, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, it's a joy. Thank you so much.
God bless you. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.